Hey, it's David Andrew Wiebe. Thank you for joining me for another live stream. As soon as you join, just leave a comment letting me know that you can hear me, you can see me. Everything's working on your end. All right. We want to make sure this is a great live stream today. Amos Bracewell is going to be joining me promptly for a great conversation. He's a lifelong singer and creator of the Gold Within program. We're going to be talking all about that in today's conversation. I've been looking forward to this. I hope you've been looking forward to this. We've been teasing this for over a week already. Last week, Amos couldn't join us due to technical difficulties. But assuming everything goes according to plan, today he will be on. We'll get the conversation going. We'll get the Q&A going at the end. So don't forget to leave comments, all right, wherever you're able to. I don't know if you're able to on Periscope or whatever, but it should be easy on YouTube and on Facebook because we are live streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, which is basically Twitter today. So we're multi-streaming to all these platforms. Wherever you are, if you're able to leave a comment, let me know how things are going for you. If you can hear me, if you can see me, if this is a good experience for you. Love to hear how things are going for you today as well. Things are beeping in the background because my laundry's done. That's always good news. Anyway, just before I bring Amos on, I don't have a ton of news to share, but I thought I would share for anyone that happens to be watching today, which I know is not that many people, although I'm expecting that more are going to be joining as things go along today. I wanted to share a few things that I see coming up for Music Entrepreneur HQ and Content Marketing Musician. I was kind of wondering whether I should even share, but you know what? Unless you're watching this live stream, there's no way you're going to even find out. So consider yourself lucky, I guess. Yeah, if you're joining today's broadcast. So here's what I see coming for Music Entrepreneur HQ and Content Marketing Musician. I'm on break right now, actually. So I'm going to have to spend some more time thinking about this. This is the plan. What's the old saying? You make plans and God laughs at them. It's something along those lines. So who knows, right? Ultimately, it may come together a little bit differently than how I envision it. But this is kind of what I've started thinking about. So first and foremost, the podcast. I think we want to actually increase exposure as opposed to reducing it. And I say that because I feel like Music Entrepreneur HQ is on the verge of breakthrough. So we're in a very fortuitous state right now. Gradually, people are finding me. They're finding my resources. They're finding my podcast. And I feel like the more value I can pack into that and share with people, the better. So I'm thinking about releasing not one episode a week, but perhaps somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 per week. There's going to be a different topical idea for each of those podcasts. So it wouldn't be the same thing. One of them would likely be on updates. So whatever is happening at Music Entrepreneur HQ and Content Marketing Musician at the time. One of them would be on music industry news. We used to cover news quite a bit in my old podcast, Dogcast Music Entrepreneurship, but it has been a while since I've covered music industry news, and now seems like a good as time as any to actually get into a little bit of that. Another episode would be for tactics and strategies, something we've covered quite a bit on the podcast, but this would be a very dedicated, right, weekly episode on just tactics and strategies to help you grow your music career. So that would be the difference. And that's why I think it might be a great idea. Another one would be, one of them might be a little bit more on musings and philosophy. In fact, the working title for it right now, and I don't mean this to be pretentious at all, is Socrates. Why Socrates? Well, here's a philosopher, and here's somebody who shared a lot of great things and asked questions and got people involved in the dialogue. That's what made an impact on the world. It's not the fact that he was a great thinker, which he was. It's the fact that he got other people involved in the conversation, right? So I'm looking to do that. And then I think in the philosophy and musing sections, I might also talk about musicality, which is another something that I haven't touched on a lot in the podcast, but I'm pretty knowledgeable on guitar. And sometimes I surprise myself with how many interviews I've read and how much I know about many of my heroes. So maybe you would be impressed as well. And so sharing in some of that knowledge and what I continue to learn and what I continue to discover about guitar, musicality, music theory, maybe even music production. Things like that would be covered in one episode. And I think I might have said this already, but interviews, right? And that one probably would not happen every single week. I'm not prioritizing interviews as much, although that could change. In the meantime, we still have live streams like this, and of course, podcast interviews. There should be another episode going up either today or tomorrow with another fantastic interview. It was supposed to go up last week, just couldn't quite get around to it, but that is coming, and we're excited for that. Now, all this new content is good and well, but I'm running a business. So there is a little bit of an underlying strategy or thought process behind everything that I'm thinking with developing and growing the business. And so over the years, you probably are aware, we've developed a ton of products for Music Entrepreneur HQ. And now some of them live on Content Marketing Musicians. So it's like we have a lot of stuff, a lot of really great resources, and it's kind of spread out. The thing that I was thinking about doing was streamlining. So compiling these resources and then streamlining them into a singular membership. Doesn't mean you still won't be able to purchase individual products. I think we'll continue to let that happen, especially the books, since they really are a way to welcome you into the ecosystem, not an end unto themselves, if that makes sense. So that's why we've developed those books. We want those to serve as an entrance into the ecosystem, to welcome you and to have you discover and realize that we have so much more available for you on Music Entrepreneur HQ, as well as Content Marketing Musicians. So a lot of the standalone products will probably remain as they are. They've helped a lot of people. They've served a lot of people. We've had a lot of great feedback and testimonials from them. Those will stay. But I'm looking at adding a membership and making that the primary value proposition. And this is where you would get immediate access as a monthly paid subscriber to many of the resources. I don't think we're going to do all of them. And I think the books will probably remain separate. But aside from that, you're going to be able to get access to practically everything else that we have, including courses, ebooks, some bonus audios, and I plan to record some bonus audios for members, some expert audios that we've done in the past, access to tons and tons of resources. We've got a lot on musicentrepreneur.hq.com already, if you didn't already know. But there's going to be even more really great, awesome resources inside Content Marketing Musician membership. And that's just going to continue to grow. I don't want to overpromise. I am an under-promise, over-deliver kind of guy. That's why I don't try to make huge hype out of these kinds of things. But in the future, it's entirely possible that we're going to be adding things like weekly live Q&As. So where I will go on to ask your questions, membership forums, private coaching. And of course, I'll keep adding to the bonus audio catalog. I'll keep adding to the course catalog and ebook catalog and all that stuff. As it continues to develop, it would really be my mission to add as much value to you as possible. So we'll keep adding transcriptions, we'll keep adding PDFs and bonus materials and all that inside the Content Marketing Musician membership when it's ready. And I think it would basically be my goal the next month or possibly next 3 months or so to get a lot of this set up. I'd like to get the skeleton structure of it and maybe begin on the publishing road this month, later this month already. And then begin to open the doors to that membership pretty much as soon as possible with the commitment to develop it every single week, because I'm here to add value to you and to better serve you in a way that is targeted and impacting for you. It just makes more sense because I get emails from all kinds of people from everywhere asking me questions about this, that, and the other. And I would just really rather have a subscriber base or a membership base that I can serve and make priority in my life. And that's what I would like to do with my business. And to this point, there just hasn't been an opportunity like that to be that targeted, which is why we're looking to open the doors to this membership real soon. And if you're on the email list, you can expect a ton. You can expect a fair number of emails about this. I'm running a business. I don't mess around. I don't fool around with these things. And we want to make sure we're communicating to you the value of it, the opportunity, as well as what we're adding to the membership every single week. So that's a little bit of the plan. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the link with Amos so he can get inside the broadcast and prepare himself. So just give me a second to do that. There we go. I'm excited about the conversation, and I hope you've been getting hyped for it as well. Like I said, we kind of announced it a little over a week ago now, probably a week and a half ago, that I would be having Amos Bracewell on the stream to do a conversation about his journey as a vocalist, as well as a new program. And we're really excited to share about the Gold Within program with you today. And once Amos is on and settled in, we'll get right into that. So again, if you happen to be joining me now, we are streaming right now to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. If you happen to be joining me and watching this later, fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Later on, we will be editing down today's interview and launching it in the podcast and publishing it on the podcast as well. This portion, or the intro portion where I'm here to just get you hyped up and excited for the interview, that'll probably be cut out. But as far as the interview goes, we're going to get that edited and published at a later date through the podcast as well. But I still expect that today's going to be a great conversation. So let me know that you can hear, that you can see me. Okay, everything's working on your end. We're not constantly experiencing, some lag or whatever it is, and that everything is a great experience for you, and you're able to leave a comment wherever you are. All right. I'm just going to send another message here to make sure he got it. All right. He should be with us any moment now. So I'm positively excited for all the changes coming to Music Entrepreneur HQ, as well as Content Marketing Musician. I think I hinted at this earlier, but I really do feel that the time to double down on podcasts is now. And if you happen to have your own podcast, yeah, it does feel like tough, difficult work at times. It feels like a slog building an audience. It's tough trying to get people to respond to what you're doing, but I feel like it's really on the verge of exploding. It's definitely not an early adopters thing anymore, because in the early 2000s is when podcasts first came out. So they've been around for a while now, and I think mainstream adoption is going to continue to climb. The percentage of people who have at least heard of podcasts continues to go up, and I think we're going to reach a saturation point with that. And then once people realize and recognize what's available in terms of content and listening to their favorite personalities and all that, then we're going to see more and more people tune in to shows, podcasts just like this. So that time is coming. If you're a podcaster and you feel like giving up, just hang in there. Just hang in there, because I think the growth is going to be quite phenomenal. And that's exactly why I'm looking to double down on the New Music Industry podcast, which will probably have independently or individually named segments to it. And so each week there might be like an A, B, C, D, and E. So, let me know your thoughts. If you have any thoughts on the new format that we're thinking about. Like I said, you make your plans, but God laughs at them. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like that. And that's what we're working on right now. And so we're excited about the possibilities, but obviously we're here to serve you in the best way we possibly can, and to give you the advantage and benefits you need to be able to grow in your music and to continue to develop your career. So just let us know what that is so we can continue to serve you at the best level that we can serve you and give you exactly what it is that you're looking for in a community like this. But thank you so much for tuning in so far. We might still be experiencing some technical problems. I don't know. I think everything's working. We're just waiting for Amos here. So that's fun filling time. I'm just kidding. I'm not here to fill time. I'm here to share with you. So whatever it is you want to talk about today, again, if you have comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, make sure to leave it wherever you are. Today's live is a multi-stream. Looks like Amos is just about to join us here. Today is a multi-stream to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, wherever it is you happen to be. We sure would appreciate it if you'd like, comment, and share. And if you have any questions for us later, we'll probably do a little bit of a Q&A at the end of this. So make sure to leave your questions in the comments and we'll have a good time. So Amos is here. Let's see if we can bring him on. Hey, Amos.
Andrew, hey.
How you doing?
Hello, man. Good.
Good.
Can you see me? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I can see you. I don't think we have too much of a delay either. So
okay, awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I'm using this new device here, so I didn't know what to expect.
Oh, is that like a GoPro or something?
No, it's just one of those thingies you mount on your car. So it
nice.
Might shake a bit, but hopefully other than that, it's good.
Yeah, I think we can probably put up with a little bit of shaking. We'll see what the viewers say, but if we can hear you and see you, that's the main thing.
I'm just going to turn you up.
Sure.
There we go. Now I got you on full.
Yeah, so just by way of introduction, joining us today is lifelong vocalist and creator of the Gold Within program, Amos Bracewell.
Well, thanks for having me, Andrew. I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on too. And we've been teasing this for, about a week and a half now. And last week we couldn't due to some technical difficulties, but here we are. So let's get into that conversation about, yeah. I think what I wanted to start off with was just, what is your trajectory? What is your life as a singer been like? What are some of the challenges you experienced? And what are some of the great things you've been able to do?
The biggest challenges have had nothing to do with singing, but they showed up in singing. So the biggest challenges were overcoming all the things I carried forward from childhood that were actually all the limiting mindsets, the things I became, was scared of doing and stepping out and putting myself out there. So they translated into vocal performances and sometimes chickening out of opportunities, but they didn't have anything to do with singing, Andrew. They expressed themselves through singing. It's been a lot of mindset stuff.
Yeah. I relate to that a lot. And the reason I say that is because I used to play basketball in junior high. And for the first time I started playing on teams. I was quite naturally talented at it in junior high or in elementary school. Started playing in teams in junior high in Canada. Yeah. And I did not perform at even half of what I was capable at just because of nerves and mindset and exactly what you're describing, just not being in the right space mentally to be able to perform at my best. So I relate to that a lot.
Yeah. It's amazing how mindset bleeds into everything. And our biggest struggles, it expresses itself through a certain conduit, but in essence, in reality has nothing to do with that, with basketball or with singing. It's to do with the mindsets we have which surround that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're going to discover more about some of the things you've been able to accomplish by overcoming some of those mindset challenges. We're going to dive deeper into that for sure. I think the first thing is, what is the Gold Within program? I've teased that a little bit for the viewers already. Yeah. I'm sure they're curious to find out by now what that is.
So it's a program that reconnects you back with what's already inside you, and it helps align you with that, and then it gives you a systematic approach, like a runway from which you can. I initially used it to achieve what I wanted to achieve initially in music, and then I went on because I had other endeavors I wanted to do to apply it to business. to my physicality, to mentally, spiritually. So it's a framework structure that you just plug in place. So whatever it is you want to achieve, you plug that in, use this system for that. Doesn't matter what the area of life is. And then it gives you a very systemized approach so you can realize and get rid of the roadblocks that have been holding you back. And then very quickly, within a month, you just see very fast results within the first month.
It's all very relatable because I've wanted to experience great results in each of those areas at different points in my life, whether it was music or business or fitness wise. And sure, a lot of people listening to want to experience those kinds of benefits and results as well. So how does the Goal Within program help people create those kinds of habits or structures or just
Sure.
results?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to get into where it all started, but I'll just
Yeah.
touch on that for a second. And if you want to go deeper, we can with when my mom passed away and my good buddy passed away, we can get into that. But basically, how it does it is it helps facilitate the connection, your connection back with what's always already been inside you. It's already inside you. It's always been inside you. But life happens to us, and if most people find that the older they get, stuff happens, and we end up getting these layers on top of us that we were not meant to carry. And so these layers and these filters end up muting our light in life, and dimming us, and sometimes even disconnecting us from why we're even here. I know a lot of artists who are, let's say, watching this, entrepreneurial artists, they probably know what they want to do, or to some extent, I would guess. And so for me, what happened was, what it allowed me to do is reconnect with that and wade through and then just discard all the reasons why I was not doing what I knew I should have been doing, or I knew I wanted to be doing. And so it allows you to reconnect with that, and then it gives you, I call it a runway, because it's a very systemized approach. I like systems. Systems
Yeah.
allow for duplication. They allow for things to quickly happen. And even though I'm an artist, I love being creative and being free. I also understand the discipline, the benefit of discipline, structure, and systems. So I live in both worlds. And that's what the Goal Within allowed me to do. When I created it, I didn't create it for someone else. I just created it because one of my best buddies and my mom died within 30 days of each other in 2017, just over 4 years ago. My world was absolutely devastated. And I'd already been an entrepreneur. I don't know if you want me to go here or not, Andrew, but
Yeah, please do.
yeah, I'd already been an entrepreneur. I already proved to myself in the world that I was not the world's best employee. My type of personality is best suited just running my own gig, probably like a lot of artists. I could do jobs if I had to, but my heart was an entrepreneur. So I tried business after business. I didn't realize there was things that were tripping me up in these businesses. So I didn't have any real successes. I'm now 45, for myself at 41. And it was in that place of trauma where I had suffered multiple losses of businesses. I'd lost a ton of money. I had a daughter who's now almost 20. At the time, she was whatever. She's 15, almost 16 at the time. My mom passes away. My good buddy died, and followed me up. And I was like, if I don't do something to figure out how to rise, I'm screwed. Because they were my biggest, I guess my turn to go. They were my biggest advocates. He was like an older brother. He was actually my youth pastor growing up. And my mom and I always had a special connection, even though we sometimes fought, because sometimes you fight with the people that you're closest with the most, as we all, probably understand that. And so that just wiped me out. And I had already suffered a bunch of losses. There's trauma with my relationship with my daughter, because there was things I had failed as a parent, of course, because who's perfect. And so I was in the process of realizing, wow, I kind of crapped the bed with my daughter.
Oh, it looks like we might have lost you there, Amos. Connection's a little unstable. Yeah. Oh, there you are. You're reconnecting.
Reconnecting. And
Yeah.
I'm going to turn around. I'm in a area that's weak connection. So give me 1 sec.
Sure.
Just going to spin it, and then be right back here.
We
Thanks
caught
for
most of what you said.
Okay. You might lose.
Well, this is the fun part about live. It's okay. We'll wait a couple of seconds because we know your connection might be affected just by the area that you're in. We'll give Amos a chance to reconnect here. Sounds like you might be getting to an area where the connection's a little better. Oh, okay. Amos dropped out here for a second. Some more technical gremlins, but I think he's going to rejoin here in just a second. So all is well. I hope you've been enjoying the conversation so far. I know I have. Got some more great questions to ask Amos about his challenges and more about the Gold Within program and some of what I've been able to experience in terms of benefits as well. So I look forward to sharing a little bit more. But this is the nature of live. Sometimes things don't work exactly how you hope they will. It's okay. You just roll with it. Every musician has had that experience of something going wrong live, including me. and we'd love to hear some stories about that. If you've got any crazy stories about things that have gone completely awry live. What I will share now, while we're waiting for Amos to get back on. I remember one time we booked a gig at a venue in Calgary that will go unnamed. I don't even know if that venue exists anymore. I would suspect it doesn't, or it's under new ownership or whatever. And I won't say it's a complete and total disaster. I think, we played to a small crowd who did enjoy our music. But for whatever reason, they got their marketing or the marquee mixed up, or they just really hated us. I'm not sure which. Instead of saying David Andrew Wiebe Band, which is my name, of course, you can see it at this side of the screen. No, this side of the screen. Instead of saying David Andrew Wiebe Band, it said the Captain. No, it didn't even say that. The Baby Wiebe Band. It said the Baby Wiebe Band. So either they really hated us, or things went completely awry with the communication for that gig. Is pretty laughable. So if you have your own stories about gigs that have gone completely wrong, we look forward to hearing them. I'm sure pretty much every musician has had those moments. We're going to bring Amos back on and see if we're able to continue. There he is.
Andrew, you got me?
I got you.
Sorry, dude. I was doing an errand. Well, I was going to do an errand down by the border. No.
Oh, okay.
Internet sucks down there. So sorry about that, man.
Yeah, down by the border might be a little bit iffy right now. So, okay, that's cool. You were talking a little bit about your challenges and struggles, and I think that's very relatable. In your observation, is there something about those struggles and challenges that makes a person want to rise up and do things and approach things differently?
Well, you kind of get to the point where life's either working or it's not, right?
Yeah.
My life wasn't working. So I had a list of reasons why it wasn't working. The evidence kept piling up. Business after business, something was broken. And I'm not trying to shame myself. There was just something I wasn't doing that I need to do that I just either didn't know, or I knew but I wasn't willing to do. And that's really what it comes down to. Is, trauma happens to everybody. For me, it was the loss of the business, stuff with my daughter, and then my mom and my good buddy dying. Like, you're going to face trauma. Everyone's going to face trauma. And then when those catalyst moments happen, they either send us further down, because I saw this myself. Sometimes I faced trauma and it sent me further down playing the denial blame game. And sometimes legitimate stuff has happened to us, but it's always a choice if we're going to stay there. And if a catalyst happens and it's that time where you're like, you know what, I'm choosing differently this time. That's what makes any new possibility possible. It's when we're willing to try something we haven't tried before. Like, what's that? Old doors. What is it? Old doors or old ways don't turn over. Whatever that saying is, you can't keep opening the same doors and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I relate to that a lot because I've probably started, if I was to include all my niche websites, I've probably started over a dozen businesses by now, most of which were not a complete total runaway success. So I think that's something that a lot of people listening can relate to as well, whether they've started music projects or whatever it is, they just haven't found traction with anything they're doing, which kind of leads nicely into this question. Who is the Gold Within program for? Oh, did we lose you, Amos? I'll wait a couple seconds here. Looks like you're just slightly frozen. This is live, folks. We roll with it. Just making sure there's nothing in the background on my end. Looks like it's okay. Okay, so Amos dropped off. Well, we'll give him a couple more seconds to join in. Oh, this has been a fun live. Things don't always go as expected or planned. That said, you know, if we need to, we can probably bring Amos back on again to share more about this. But we'll give him another chance to join in, and we'll try to continue this live stream to its logical conclusion. Have Amos share a little bit more about the Gold Within program, and I'm more than happy to share a little bit about my experience at the end too. In the meantime, if you were looking for, or if you heard me talk about Music Entrepreneur HQ and you're wondering where that is, you can always Google it, but it's also there at musicentrepreneur.hq.com. That's where you can find the podcast as well, and some of the content that we've developed over the course of the last 11, is it now 12 years? Last 11 to 12 years or so. That's where you can find some of the content that we've developed to help and support the careers of musicians. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm all about. And if you're looking for some of the products, not there, just accidentally clicked on that. For some of the courses and products and other things, entrepreneurial sessions for musicians masterclass is also there. It's at contentmarketingmusician.com. Digital marketing essentials for musicians is also up, and I believe it's still available at a discount now. So if you go to contentmarketingmusician.com, you should be able to easily find all the products we got up there, as well as the courses and everything else. So in case you were listening and wondering where all that was happening, you can find our products and content and podcast and everything else there. And wherever you listen to podcasts, all you got to do is search up the New Music Industry Podcast, and you should be able to find it anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Music, or /iTunes, whatever they're calling it now. You should be able to find us on one of those destinations. And if you do listen on iTunes already or Apple Music already, we'd love for you to leave a rating and review. We love 5-star rating and reviews. If you absolutely don't dig it, that's okay. Either don't really leave a review or just leave whatever you feel we deserve, but we work very hard to bring great podcast content weekly. And so we love and appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes. Again, the easiest way to find the podcast is at musicentrepreneurhq.com. Just got a message from Amos here. Let's see if he's able to join again. But anyway, that's where you can find the podcasts. And again, the name of the podcast is The New Music Industry Podcast. You can find it at musicentrepreneurhq.com, or more specifically, musicentrepreneurhq.com/podcast-archives. That's getting a little long, but if you don't mind giving your fingers a workout and typing that into your browser, you can grab that link as well. Looks like Amos is back. We'll try to bring him back on again and see if this works. Hello.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just some technical gremlins today, but we roll with it because it's live.
Oh, there you go. I'm just going to pull over because I'm not sure. Maybe that'll help. Not sure.
Yeah, maybe it'll help. We'll see. I don't know how those 5G wires are supposed to work, but so we kind of dropped off on what you were sharing about.
Sure.
How challenges can lead to those types of breakthroughs, which is really great. And I was just beginning to ask, who is this program for?
Well, it's for anybody who feels stuck.
Yeah,
I just opened it up for beta testing, so I got a group of people going through. And actually, Andrew, you're in the program yourself, so
yeah,
you could tell people obviously about what it's like for you. I'd love to, but it's if you're feeling stuck, then when you feel stuck and you're out of options in terms of, you're like, I've tried everything there is. I don't know why I'm not going forward. I don't know why life isn't more than it is right now. I got dreams and I got hopes. And that's where I came to, right? When I went through that, where I was at that place where I did this, I just created for myself. I moved out to Calgary, Alberta. I moved 500 miles away after the funerals. And I was like, I got to start my life over. I got to do something different. And so that's the catalyst it was for me. But so the program, I actually just released it in beta testing, and there's a small group of people that are in it now that are just helping make sure everything's working correctly before I actually start marketing it out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you having me on. Anyone that feels stuck, anyone that feels they know that they're supposed to be doing more, but they don't know how to find that. This stuff the reason I'll tell you this. The reason why that's the thing that sparked the idea for the creation of this program was I attended a seminar. I attended a self-improvement seminar in early part of 2017. And during that seminar, they did vision boarding. And I've always been a fan of vision boarding, but it never worked for me. I shouldn't say that. I'm driving the car that was on my vision board. So maybe it did work for me. But back then it hadn't worked for me. This is just recent, right? So I was like, these are paper laid wishes. I love vision boarding. I think it's awesome. But the reality is I was like, I need something practical. I need something I can sink my teeth into. It's got to be tangible. So we did vision boarding. It was this awesome event, but I left there going, and this is right before my mom passed and my buddy Henry passed. I was like, I have to create something. So fast forward, create something for this to work for me. So fast forward to the spring, and then they both passed on, and I was like, well, I got to get out of here. I felt led to go to Calgary, so I go to Calgary. I cocoon with one of my friends for 2 months, and I'm like, listen, I need to take myself through some kind of program because I got to restart my life. And that's what this ended up being. Is I initially was going to call it Restart, but no, the Gold Within was much more, because it's reconnecting you with what's already in here. It's not something out there. That's the most amazing thing I've learned in this last 4 years is what we're trying to achieve is not about going out there and trying to find happiness or trying to find this or it's not. It's coming back in here. And for me, that's connecting with God and allowing God to connect me back with the things I forgot along the way and heal the things in me that got damaged, because stuff gets damaged in life. And we've all damaged people and they've all damaged us. So it's not like someone's innocent here. We've all done it. But the most important thing is not staying there. And so that's where I was when I created it. I moved out. I said to my friend, I'm like, hey, do you want to try this thing with me? Because I need to do this for me. Are you willing to, I don't know, be like a little partner with me in terms of and so they said yes. So we dove in like kind of like two kids in a schoolyard, in the sandbox of life. And so then I saw the results it did in my life. I came back and, in 1 year, in 9 months, actually, I wrote the songs, created all the music album. And then I created 6 music videos and went on a mini tour in 9 months. So that was more than I'd done in 10 years. So, and I was able to overcome some fears by doing this, because there was fears of actually going on stage. Even though I'd sung before on stage, there was a lot of stuff that doing this program helped unearth, a lot of the stuff that needed to be dealt with in my life in multiple areas. And of course, as we started this out, you talked about singing, and you asked me about, blockages or things to overcome. And it's like, that's the most amazing thing. When you let whatever needs to be dealt with, typically from childhood, when you let that stuff come out, and that's what the Gold Within system helps with. And that's the most amazing thing. As you let that stuff come out, get healed, get addressed, your singing takes off. Your songwriting can take off. Your music can take off. Like, I have other things. I don't just do music, but I achieved initially what I wanted to. It helped me do it in 9 months. And then I went out to Ontario, back east, to go and in Canada, I don't know where your listeners are, but to go and get feedback from a management company. So I sent all my stuff out there. At the end of my tour, I was in Kelowna. I'd finished the little mini tour, and I went out and I sent all my stuff out to this management company in Kelowna. And this lady, who's the top exec at the company, I thought she was like someone's assistant. I didn't know. I just felt led one day to reach out. So I looked online for the company that managed a certain group that I really respected. And I reached out. I just grabbed one of their emails that was available online. I just shot up my stuff, said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I've done. Here's my album. Here's my music videos. I'm untrained. I don't really know what to do next. And so I'd love your input. And I didn't hear anything for about 2 weeks. And then she got back to me and she said some wonderful things. And she said, I don't understand how, we haven't heard about you and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe I should have contacted her for a reason, because I thought, well, she never got back to me. And so that led to me going out to Ontario to meet them. And then they critiqued me and basically said, gave me homework. They said, well, before we can sign you, you got to work on these things. They told me 2 things in my voice. Number one, I never on pitch, Andrew. So I didn't realize my pitch needed the work that it needed. So there's a couple parts in my album still that the pitch, because I don't use auto tune. I refuse to use it. And so so they said, you got to work on your pitch. And then the other thing is just making sure you're flowing through your range a little smoother. So actually, because I don't do music full time, I've been doing business stuff. I've been working on that homework for the last 2.5 years. So I'm prepping to do a hymns album in the next year, just to kind of honor my roots and how I was raised. And that's really on my heart that I should do that. So anyway, I will be doing a new recording. But there's more of the story of staying flexible. And because when they said that, you got to work on your pitch. Oh my gosh. I was like, what do you mean I have to work on my pitch? You got to work on your pitch. No, I didn't say that. But it's kind of like that. Because when someone tells you something, it's like the ego's defense right away is to go, no, I'm wrong. You're right. And if that's one of the things I learned by going through this program is there was a great saying in Kung Fu Panda. I love that kids movie. I used to watch all of them with my daughter when she was young. And it's something about when the cup, a full cup, can have nothing else added to it. And it was something about being smart enough to realize you never know everything. And so always be open to receiving criticism. And so when this lady said this, initially it kind of stung, but I was like, you know what? She managed Andrea Bocelli. And I was like, and she was his private pianist. So when she told me this, I was like, you know what? I probably should just suck it up, princess, and receive it. So that led to a massive discovery in my singing. I didn't realize, first of all, how off my pitch sometimes had been, and so I became militant on my pitch. So the last 2 years, what was actually a weakness of mine, because I chose not to go with my ego and try to prove that I know right and you're wrong. I was like, you know what, you're right. And so I realized that my pitch really needed work. And so now my pitch has actually becoming an area of strength and used to be an area of weakness. And that's pretty cool.
That's incredible. And there actually is a visual representation of the Gold Within program behind me. I'm not going to go into specific details, but I will share some of the benefits that I got a little bit later in the show as well. I think you painted a really great picture. You articulated what challenges you were facing, as well as some of the breakthroughs that you've had. Are there any other, because the listeners are going to be at a variety of different stages in their life, are there any other difficulties or challenges that people enter the Gold Within program with?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got some of the people. It's a small group of people that are beta testing it now. It's fully open, but I'm not promoting it. I'm not running traffic to it. I'm not, my funnels are up and all that. And the members area is open and people can access. But one of my friends used it. So she had gotten out of a rough relationship. And she had really dimmed her light because she was disconnected for years because of the relationship she was in. And she finally was able, I met her after, so she'd already left the relationship, but she was struggling to learn to reconnect with her voice. And in all of her friendships and relationships with her family, with her kids, with her friends, she wouldn't actually tell people where she was at. She was always the one that conveniently listened to everybody. So she used the program to focus on, how do I get bolder in my voice? How do I get she's not a singer, but in her voice, right? And she's reconnected with that, and she's strong now, and she's bold, and she's fierce. And another thing she used was doing this in business. And so she applied the principles. She wanted to grow her income. So as she's an employee, and she rose from being an account manager to she's the top exec in the company. So now she's, well over 6 figures. Wow. And she used the program to do that. Another one of my friends, because I invited people I knew to be a part of the beta testing, because I was like, it's safe. I can make all my mistakes with friends. It's not too public right now, right? So she used it, one of my friends, to learn to ask for what she wants in life. She wasn't asking for what she wants because of fear that maybe she's not worthy and she's unlovable or she's not acceptable as she is. I don't know where she got those belief systems, but the cool thing is that she's stronger now and she's bolder now. I know you mentioned to me some of the things you've used the Gold Within program, because a lot of it's business, right? You're doing a lot of your focus is on personal growth, development, business stuff, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I've used it for fitness. So when we went into pandemic mode, the gyms were closed. And I was like, I was always scared of being someone that could work out at home because I admired people that did that. But I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. I need a gym is the tape I was telling myself. I need the machines. I need the weights, blah, blah, blah. And I use a system to discover that I am completely capable of doing my home workouts. So now I exclusively do home workouts. And it didn't take that long for that muscle to grow. I do my running, my sprints at the park, and then I do my workouts at home. And that's another area. I also used it to deal with some emotional eating habits I was having and I was dealing with. So stuff in my face whenever I wanted to avoid feeling certain things in life. So
yeah. I love that you touched on a bunch of benefits and breakthroughs, which was going to be my next question anyway. So it's an opportune moment for me to share some of the benefits that I got. First and foremost is clarity. Some of the questions in this program are just going to direct you to things that are unfinished or things that would really be closely aligned with your ultimate purpose as a human being, and the things that you need to accomplish and create in your life. So for me, that it gave me a lot of instant clarity on the things that were matterful to me, and I think a lot of people are going to get that benefit too. The next thing was just because I was clear on the things that I was meant to do and accomplish, I got a better sense of what my impact and the difference I want to make in the world is. And that leads right into the next benefit, which is if you know your internal reason for being, you have a much better sense of your brand. And that's really how I like to talk about branding. Branding, you can talk about colors and logos and aesthetics and all that kind of stuff, but it really does come down to what difference do you want to make in the world? What is your purpose? What is the impact you want to make? And once musicians understand that, I think their brand is going to be so much more powerful than just like how they look on stage. And I feel like that's another really big benefit that people can get from the Gold Within program.
I love what you said there, Andrew, because Simon Sinek talks about your why, defining your why. When I saw that video, 10 years ago it came out, it changed my life. It began the process of changing my life in the sense that I began realizing that people don't buy from people. People buy from people whom they align with, even as a singer. So you got to say what you stand for. And here's something I just learned today. Every war in the world has started from rights being violated, if my information is correct. And so you don't stand on rights. What you stand for is social issues. So social issues bleed into culture, they bleed into business. So when singers or anyone takes a stand on a social issue, not on a human rights issue, but a social issue, you become someone that people can come along say and go, you know what? I also believe that. So Simon Sinek talks about doing your why video and your why statements. Like something I believe is that I believe every person on this planet comes loaded with gifts and abilities, much of which get covered over through the traumas and circumstances we go through. And until they get reconnected with that, they walk around in partial aimlessness and their candle is barely lit. It's not a flame. It's like flickering. So I also believe that people, when they reconnect with those things, they can become absolutely alive. I've seen it done in my life, and they can overcome tragedies and traumas, people dying, breakups, losing marriages, losing businesses, having to start over, losing whatever, being swindled, whatever. Because I believe that those internal gifts are the thing that keeps the pilot light lit. And when we actually start going after and reconnecting with those things, we become someone that tragedy cannot squish. Our fire cannot be quenched because stuff is going to happen. But I believe it's the way we're designed. I believe that the way we've been designed is so that everything you need has already been put inside of you. But we were born into a world where we're taught to disconnect. We're taught to not listen to this. We're taught to not follow this. Dear God, don't follow this because you'll get hurt. And then what happens is we do get hurt in life. Stuff happens, traumas happen. We are hurt. And so we go, well, dragons are real. Dragons are real. But if dragons are real, so are warriors. And I believe that we are able to become the warriors we were meant to be, because it's impossible to thirst for something unless it exists. If I am thirsty, that means somewhere on this planet water exists. It's impossible to thirst for something that doesn't exist. So if you crave to be the person that can rise up and be valiant in your own life and slay the dragons that you have to learn to slay, because no one else is going to slay them for you. If you crave that, that exists.
Adding to something that you said there, and I think this is a huge part of building your tribe or following or whatever you want to call it, is you never know what people are going to connect with. I think Dan Kennedy, marketing expert, said this in his book. I don't remember the exact examples he gave, but he says, I always mention the fact that I had a speech impediment. I always mention the fact that I'm married. I always mention the fact that I used to own this car and it's my favorite car. I always mention the fact that I love Disney or whatever it is. And you don't know which part of that people are ultimately going to connect with. It's like, I wasn't listening to you until 5 minutes ago when you mentioned so-and-so. And that happens to a lot of people. That's why I always mention I grew up in Japan. It's a huge part of my upbringing and my identity and who I've become. And that's really crucial to know.
Connecting points, because
Yeah.
people assign meaning to connecting points. Oh, you also watch The Mandalorian? I watch The Mandalorian. Well, if you value The Mandalorian or whatever show it is, or the new Cobra Kai, that means you value what I value. And if we value the same thing, I'm going to listen to you and I might buy something for you, or I might buy your album, or I might come and watch your show because, dude, I just feel we got this connection.
Exactly. And I think you left us with a really great thought, which is that you can't thirst for something that doesn't exist. I think that's something that everyone's going to want to sit with and think on and ponder and reflect to get a better sense of what they can create in their own lives. And it is available through the Gold Within program as well.
Imagination is something that really has come back to me. We were born as kids. We all remember, well, hopefully we all remember what it's like to imagine and just to make believe. I used to play army with my brother and my the neighborhood kids. I grew up there was always a cul-de-sac where I lived, the different houses we lived in. We would play bike tag, we would play army, we would play Red Rover, we play street hockey. I always had an active imagination. I actually would, like, out of plywood, cut out guns, like M16s and all these different kind of guns and Uzis, just because, the creativity. I would play Army Men. Anyway, something I've noticed that the Goal Within helped me with is it's helped me reconnect with my imagination. So since then, I've written better songs because my imagination. If you can imagine the chord progression, if you can imagine yourself singing something, you can do it. When I started my singing journey at 15, I heard this Southern Gospel Quartet in this church choir practice I was in. And I heard this super low bass. I don't know. I'm a tenor singer. And I heard this high tenor, this other was called a lead singer, a baritone, and a bass. I heard these guys singing this gospel music. I got bit with the bug of singing. And I thirsted. I was like, one day I'm going to be able to sing a high, full voice C5, high tenor C. And I at the time I could sing like an F. Like I didn't have a very big vocal range. And I was like, I saw with my imagination that it could happen. And I've used this for different things in life. And fast forward, I'm 45, so almost 30 years later, this fall, 30 years later, I've more than surpassed that, but at the time I couldn't. So if you can visualize the song, the chord progression, the tour, the album cover, the music video, the business, the finances you want from your singing career, the duet, that guitar riff, or the keyboard, the way you play, whatever it is, if you can visualize it, is because it exists in a realm that only your imagination can unlock. And so we have to give ourselves the freedom to reconnect, not just with our child, the inner child, but to reconnect with the things that were put in here, like probably before birth.
I remember that when I was a child, I used to imagine living in a 100-story tower with an entire floor dedicated to a pool and an entire floor dedicated to a basketball court and owning multiple cars and all this kind of stuff. Almost like Donald Trump, I guess. But I didn't know who Donald Trump was as a kid. But that's just where my imagination went. And if I was to take it for granted once more that all of that is possible, what a life. What a life I would live.
Yeah. If water is what you thirst, it's because water exists.
Yeah. Well, that is a fantastic note to end on, but I will ask this. Is there anything else I should have touched on?
I just want to encourage your listeners that regardless, if they click on the link, they'll get a free copy of the program The Gold Within. There's a paid version if you want me to teach it to you on videos, and there's a private Facebook and Telegram group. And I wrote a couple other books, and there's audio books in there you'll get as a bundle if you want to do the paid version, but you get the free version at least. I would encourage you, guys and girls, take the free version. And I want to light the fire in you that things are possible. And no matter what you've been through, and there's some real traumas in life and tragedies, no doubt. When that stuff happened to me, it leveled me. It's serious. Pain is serious. And this life is temporary. Mm-hmm. So I want to encourage you to begin to ask questions you've not asked before, and begin to turn over rocks you've not turned over before. When we start the journey of being willing to be open to trying things we've never done, information that we've never had before becomes possible, that it could land in our lap. The possibility exists. And it's so easy to get stuck in our little ruts, in anything, in our physical life, in our diet, in our singing, in our songwriting, in business, even where we drive, the habitual things we do. And sometimes that works well for us. But when we're not experiencing what we want to experience in life, it's time to ask better questions, different questions. It's time to start looking in places we've never looked before. And if you dream of doing something, and you've dreamed of this for a while, and it's real, and it's like you taste it, touch it, it's for a reason. It's not in you because it's just some coincidence. It's in you. The things we crave are in us for a reason. The eagle has to fly. Why does it want to fly? Why does it want to flap its wings? It's because it's supposed to. So whatever is in you, the thing you cannot shake, is there because it's been put there. And desire reveals design.
That's awesome. And we've had a bunch of viewers and listeners come in and out today. If you have any questions, real quick, just drop them in the comments now. We might be able to get to them before we wrap this stream. The link for the Gold Within program is just down there. So it's musicentrepreneurhq.com/the Gold Within. I managed to set up a quick link, so you don't have to enter any crazy characters in your browser. That's all you have to put in there. It's just musicentrepreneurhq.com/the Gold Within. I thank you everyone for tuning in today. Hope you got lots out of this. Anybody who happens to be watching after the fact, thank you as well. Today was a multi-stream to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Thank you so much to Amos Bracewell for coming on to talk about it. Maybe we'll even have him on again in the future. But thanks again, Amos.
My pleasure, Andrew. Thank you for having me, and thanks for anyone that tuned in. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks so much. We're going to be ending this stream. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you again soon.